Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video here, kind of showing you how to work the Tyrans puzzle a little bit from a tank, melee DPS, range and healer perspective. So basically, when the fight starts out, it doesn't really matter too much what you do. So you get to choose which platform to tank him on. It doesn't really matter whether you choose to tank him on this red one or the yellow one. But either way, when the first simplification goes out, that red one is the first one to be dropped, and then you'll be tanking him on the yellow one. Going on from there, it's kind of self-explanatory. You kind of see which platform you'll be tanking him on and which platform you'll be dropping. Keep in mind, melee DPS are also going to be dropping kind of in the same pattern. So if that's the case, you just kind of move on. You always want to have at least one platform behind you for the tanks, so that you have a platform to move back to. You never actually want to have to drop simplification on the platform that the boss is being tanked on. Now, as for fire placement and then how you rotate afterwards. So when you start out in this fight, on the left side wall, you're always going to want the tank to be on the kind of in the furthest away from the entrance. So you can see over here on the left side, you'll have these two fire spots. The bottom right is going to be the melee DPS and the off tank, and then the top left is where the main tank is going to drop his fire, and you guys rotate counterclockwise so that the main tank can move back to drop his simplification. Once you get to the other side, the opposite side from the entrance, things get a little different. So when you're against a wall, you basically use what's called a crisscross method. So the main tank is actually going to be dropping his fire on the top right, as you can see here, and then they're going to move to the bottom left. The melee DPS and the off tank are going to drop their fire on the top left and move to the bottom right. From there, we're trying to take, it might be a little confusing because there's three platforms here, but you're basically trying to move as far back as you can. It's the same idea. We're always trying to take as far platforms as far back as we can, and if we need to, we can save a spot. Typically, we'll move to that second platform, and then we'll clean up platforms behind us as we can. Typically, with the tanks, one of the major things to recognize here is when the main tank is taking bronzes, you know he has that simplification cast. You can start moving to whatever platform you want while the simplification cast is going out. You don't have to wait for his cast to complete in order to actually start moving and taking whatever simplification or taking whatever platform you need to. Yeah, so you can even drop down to the bottom if you need to. So if someone messed up or there's a platform really far away that you need to try to get to, you can, as soon as he starts casting simplification, you can jump off the platform and move over to the whatever one that needs to be taken. From there, when we get to starting to go to the right side, then the tank is always going to be on the close side, or no, he's still going to be facing the boss away from the group, and is going to be dropping fire on the opposite side from the entrance. No, but then you rotate counterclockwise. So basically, you're just kind of going through. You're still, when you're on the right side, again, you're dropping fire over there, in the top right corners, and then rotating to the left. Well, it'll be your right, but it'll be, counterclockwise overall. But then you just kind of keep going through. Once you get to the final spot, then that's when you're going to make another change again. Basically, by this point, if we're actually using this final tile, pretty much we're going to be sharing the platform with ranged and healers. And we're pretty much all going to have to be stacking up, so you don't really have to worry about cleave too much. You just want to make sure that you drop the fire, there on the bottom left, and then rotate over to the bottom right so that you're able to take those last two tiles. So for ranged and healers, your job is simultaneously easier and harder at the same time. Generally speaking, it should be easier, but depending on whether you guys get too far ahead or too far behind, you kind of have to make an adjustment, which could end up leading it to be a little bit harder. Generally speaking, all you have to do is make sure you don't drop fire on specific corners or sides as you move through the puzzle, which are marked here with a little yellow dot. So just make sure that you're not dropping fire there. The thing is, if you get too far ahead from where the melee are, so you're taking like just about every simplification and the melee is only really getting like one simplification from the tanks, then you're going to want to start having range to actually move over onto the melee to help eat up some of their melee tiles, which means that you need to also understand how the tank and melee tiles work as well. On the opposite side of the spectrum, if you're not really getting a whole lot of tiles, yet the tanks and melee are getting a ton of them, you're going to actually have to move up to stay in range, and basically you're going to try to get back and take tiles that are behind you, but if you can't get there, don't worry about it, you'll end up getting them later on in the fight.